Well, friends, it's that time again. Time for a hobonichi wrap up and a layout for 2026 video. So let's get into it. Okay. All right, let's bring on our girls, shall we? So here is Mama, 2025 hobonichi cousin. This was the full year, and while it was, oh my gosh, things are like bleeding out. While it was great, I achieved exactly what I wanted to do with her, which was to just document my life and start a daily journaling practice. She obviously got a little thick to the point that like the last 6 weeks of the year, I like just could not take her anywhere. She was just a little too bulky, a little bit too heavy. But that's great because I wanted to document my life. I wanted to kind of prove to myself that I was living a good life, and like, I mean, the evidence don't lie, gang. But it is really funny. So obviously 2025 is over now. We bring in our next leading lady of 26. Stark difference. I know it'll chunk up over time, but it is pretty funny to see like look at them. Ugh, crazy. All right, so we're gonna put our little full year to the side for a moment because I do want to talk about what I'm doing for 2026. So a couple things are changing, a couple things are shifting. One thing is really kind of staying the same, but it's always a good time at the beginning of the year to just like start fresh. I took some of the things that I liked from 2025, some of the things that I didn't like, and created my layout for 2026. All right, so what is changing? Most obviously, I did the full year cousin for 2025. I loved having one book for everything. However, I filled these pages as much as possible. And I think for 2026, I don't want to feel limited by the, inevitability of my journal just, getting massive and really heavy and getting really cumbersome to carry around. So I'm going to try the avec this year. The avec versus the full year is just that the avec is 2 books for 1 year instead of just the 1 book. So this version, or not this version, but this first book goes from January to June, and then I will start a whole new book for July through December, which is kind of fun. I think it's going to scratch that itch of like, if there are things I'm doing in this journal that I don't love, it's not like I'm stuck looking at it for the rest of the year. Like if it comes to July, I can get like a second fresh start in the year. Right. So we're doing the avec this year, pretty excited. So other things that are changing besides just the version of hobonichi that I'm using for 2026. One thing I didn't love that I did in 2025 was figure out what to do with these monthly pages. So at the beginning of every month, there is a little blank spread. In my 2025, I used it as a collage of the month. Just like taking pictures and like adding them here, or stickers or little memorabilia, and kind of making just a little collage of the month that I had. So it was a very retroactive activity. This proved, especially as the year went on and I got busier and busier, really cumbersome. And then I just found that I didn't really love having blank pages here. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. Honestly, I have a couple of ideas. Is maybe just finding like some fun paper and, just covering it with a fun pattern or something that feels very like of the month. I think one other thing I could do, doing like a recap of my favorites of the month. So making a little template and saying like, what album did I have on repeat in January? And, what was my favorite food? What was my latte order most consistently? Just like little ways that are maybe something that I'm not capturing elsewhere in my journal that are, could be interesting to put here. And I'll just kind of play around the next few months and see which ones stick. Regardless, this page is kind of going to be something that we figure out as we go on. I don't have like a hard and fast plan for it right now. The other thing I decided to change this year is that in the back of the hobonichis, there is a My 100 little page, and so I didn't really do much with the pages in the back of the hobonichis last year. I kind of bookmarked a couple of them to maybe try it, but honestly they were, I just kind of forgot about them. A lot of people are doing media journaling. I really didn't want to introduce another journal to my system, so I'm going to use this 100 as completed media through the year. I'm not limiting it to like certain forms of media, like TV shows can be here, books can be here, music can be here, whatever. The only rules I'm kind of putting to this 100 is that it has to be a form of media that I have like completed. So I've like listened to the whole album, I've watched the whole show, I've read the whole book, and I'm gonna keep it limited to things that I really loved instead of just recording like everything I consumed in the year. I'm gonna like be comfortable with DNFing things and just like moving on. There's not enough time to just consume things that don't bring me joy. So I'm gonna make this a list of just everything that I absolutely love this year. Obviously, number one for this year right now is Heated Rivalry. So good. So we're starting strong. I think those are the big changes, right? So just like those, you know, beginning of the month pages, the 100, and then like the actual version of the journal that I'm using this year. Everything else I'm doing in my layout is just slight shifts of what I did in 2025. So, as y'all might remember, I used the kind of yearly spreads as a habit tracker, and it is back. I found that I really enjoyed, you know, looking back and seeing if there were trends of some of the habits that I was doing. So, I kept the same layout, but tweaked it slightly. I still have the same categories of mindfulness, of movement, and of creativity, and they're like indicated by colors. I still have the same activities within them too. I kind of like halfway through the year is also track my mental health days, and these are specifically the mental health days where I'm like really struggling. And this has been interesting because I'm like, are there certain times of the month that I'm really struggling? Like what was happening during that time of the month that might have like triggered it? Is it just kind of sporadic? That sort of thing. So she's back. And then what else? Oh, I did switch. So originally I had each column and what it was at the top of the month. But it was really like truncated and it was hard to like make sure I was on the right line. So I've changed it. I've put it on the bottom, and instead of having sort of like the monthly goals on the bottom, I moved them to the top. There's already some like built-in check boxes. I love to do things in threes, so it just felt like really like a natural kind of switch to put them at the top. Really thinking through these goals is going to be a priority of mine, and I do like having them at the top too. So I'm feeling good about these. And yeah, I do just love like this little habit tracker. I think it's really fun. Let's see. Then we go to our monthly page. So not much is really changing here either. I have found that like I, for the most part, will write out like birthdays here, anniversaries, appointments that are set in stone. As things pop up, I'll pop them on here. Really the only other thing I did in 2025 was I would just mark off the days as they went, because I do love marking off days. It was really fun just kind of like leafing through and being like, oh my gosh, look at all the days that have passed. Sometimes fun, sometimes a little unnerving. So what's changing for this year? I'm really like can't commit to like doing the themes like a lot of folks I see online and at like my local stationery meetups. They'll do themes with like stickers and washi and all that stuff for each month. I kind of did that a little bit, mostly because I messed up a little bit in my layout. But like, you know, I might like dress her up a little bit month to month. I'm adding a little bit more stickers because I just need to use them. I'm definitely one of those people that I collect stickers and I never use them. I have to get over that. So I'm just going to start using them. And let's see, I am adding like sort of weekly to-dos here. Because I do find that I flip to this page pretty often just to check on like birthdays or upcoming appointments and things. So I've been putting some of those here. And then the only other thing, and I don't have it in here right now because I'm trying to like stockpile images and then I'll print them all at once, is I do love the idea of printing like a photo a day. That's also fun because it reminds me to like take a moment to slow down and like grab a quick picture, even if I don't have anything going on that day. Like, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll dress up the spread a little bit and just make it a little bit more interesting, because that was one thing. Like looking back on these pages from 2025, like they're there, like they feel very functional. So I want to add a little bit more whimsy into them. Okay, let's go to weeklies, shall we? These, honestly, not changing a whole lot either. I have found that the weekly pages, I'll duplicate like appointments, birthdays, anniversaries. I've been adding my work from home days and my office days. But the other thing I really like and I wanted to prioritize for my weekly spreads was time blocking. I definitely have time blindness. And these pages in particular have been super helpful to say like, okay, like realistically, how much time do I have outside of sleep, outside of work, outside of other obligations and responsibilities to like do creative things or even just like rest. So I'm trying to like be a little bit more diligent about these pages last year. I kind of slipped on these probably the most consistently. Over the year, they were just the easiest to sort of let go, which was a shame because I definitely felt the difference when I didn't prioritize these pages. I just felt like I was living in the middle of time and like I had no idea where I was most of the time. So I always, you know, the Sunday before the week starts, go in, block out, you know, my sleep time. And this is the thing too, I'll get to this in a second, but like sleep time, movement is in yellow this year. I've got work in purple, any sort of appointment or event in green. And then pink is sort of my like free time that I get to determine what I want to do, not based on what anybody else needs me to do or expects me to do or whatever. So while like the day-to-day might shift, this is generally speaking like, it's not really like ideally what's gonna happen during this week, but just like what I don't even know if projecting is the right word. Like what I'm just like laying out is what is possible this week. So what I'm doing then, because I don't really go back and I touch this during the week, I just leave it as is, unless for example, like, you know, I was gonna go to yoga on Tuesday, decided, actually I didn't decide, therapy was really hard, so I went for a walk instead. Like I might shift a couple of those things so they stay like sort of close to the truth. But what I've been doing is doing more of like time logging as it exactly happened in my daily pages. So going over to those, let's see here, got a couple different. Oh, well, before we go to those, okay, so one other like change I made this year is there's a spread in the Hobonichi Cousin that has, and the weekly might have this too, in the original, I'm not really sure. But all I know is there is one spread in here that is turning the page to a new year. I think last year I like journaled on New Year's Eve. I like talked about, you know, my favorite things from the year prior and then things I was looking forward to in 25. And that's all well and great, but I wanted to do something a little more abstract this year. And I love a good vision board. I think I've been doing it ever since 21 or 22. I make like a digital vision board on Pinterest. So maybe I'll show you guys that sometime. It's so much fun. But anywho, I had a farmer's almanac and I buy them every year and then I like maybe read them once and I never touch them again. So I had my 2025 farmer's almanac. I felt really bad just chucking it into the recycling bin. So I challenged myself to grab that guy because it was really the only like physical media I had on hand that I could very comfortably cut up because I knew I wasn't going to use it again. And I was like, I'm gonna make a vision board out of just everything I can find, and maybe like a couple extra things that I have in my little like scrap pouch. So I did. I went through the Farmer's Almanac. It was actually really fun. I ended up like rereading some things that I haven't read since the beginning of last year. I read some new articles in there, like found some new little tidbits. So it was really fun to go back through it. And then I just like cut out things that resonated with what I wanted for this year. So I feel like I haven't probably mentioned it yet, but my 2 words for 2026 are abundance and intention. So, you know, a lot of like, I loved the Little Turtle for like slowing down, being intentional. There was like a girl reading and like outdoorsy things and things with the moon and like the cyclical nature and being connected to nature and all of that thing. So this was really fun. I found that like this is a lot more exciting to me to look back on than some of the stuff I did last year with just like the free writing. And I really did enjoy just sitting down and collaging for a bit. So this is new and I really enjoyed it. We'll see how it comes to fruition. But then on my daily pages, so I'm actually gonna flip to this spread. So I'm not going to stay 100% diligent to this spread by any stretch of the imagination, but one of the struggles I did have last year was that my daily pages were so inconsistent and sometimes it felt really like just overwhelming. So I, saved a lot of things on Pinterest. I watched a lot of videos, just like looked at what other people were doing with their daily pages and sort of came up with this like template, for lack of a better word. One thing I started doing probably midway through last year was I transitioned my morning pages into this journal, and I would put the timestamp of when I did my morning pages because like I don't always do them in the morning. It feels great when I do, but I don't always get to that. So I still timestamp. I still take like 10-15 minutes and just like free write whatever's on my mind. It could be like things that happened the day before, it could be things that are bugging me in the moment, it could be things that I'm looking forward to for the rest of the day. So that goes here, and it's not always this short, right? Like, you know, it can get, I allow myself the full space of this like area right here to write. And if I need to keep writing, I'll just go in my other journal and keep writing, because clearly there's something I have to process if I'm still writing past this point. The other thing I do is I leave a little bit of space at the bottom for just whatever I want. So on the 3rd, it was the first full moon of the year, is the wolf moon. So I just like wrote a couple things about that, just little doodles. I haven't really gotten like too creative with this section here yet. Honestly, I just haven't really had a lot of time, but I'm excited to like, you know, throw stickers on here, quotes, you know, doodles, whatever comes to mind. And then the 3rd thing that's sort of on this page right now is that like actual kind of series of events, for lack of a better word. So I'll put little dots as to like when I actually slept, when I actually woke up, what I actually did in this time. And like, I'm being like pretty honest with myself, because again, the weekly spreads are like, this is my ideal, like I'm like balancing movement and I'm spending all this time doing creative things. But then it's like, well, actually I, you know, watched a TV show, or I played video games, or I napped. So I'm not like, you know, I fill this out with no judgment. It's more just, you know, it's more a tool of mindfulness that I usually end up doing this either through the day, or I'll do it at the end of the day and just reflect on what I did. And then I might ask myself like, okay, like was this a great day? Like from a like productivity standpoint, I say productivity because not every day needs to be productive. But like, for example, if I had planned to record a video that day and I ended up, you know, sleeping in and not really, and just loafing around and things, like how does that make me feel? And not being, again, judgmental, just, you know, having that dialogue with myself. It's good. So right now I'm keeping up with it. I'm not like super like every second this is what I did, but for the big blocks, I'll put them here. Yeah, and then again, this is a template. If there are days that I inevitably miss, because there will be those days that I miss, maybe I'll go back and collage, maybe I'll use it as a sketching page. Like, you know, so far I've been able to keep up pretty well. Like there's this whole blank spot. I'm like, ooh, what do I want to do with this? Like, do I want to retroactively find something from the 5th and put it in here? Do I just want to like fill it with something? I'm fine. I really, after 2025, found acceptance in having like emptiness in a page, or even a totally blank page. At the same time, you know, if I'm feeling like inspired, I might fill these pages up a little bit. So yeah, it's a template. It's something to lean on for when I'm feeling overwhelmed, and it's, you know, predictable, but definitely not limiting myself. It's just kind of where I've been so far this year. Okay, and like that's the long and short of it. That's the just dirty details of what I'm planning to do with my 2026 avec this year. So I guess all that's left to do is to do our final weigh-in of our 2025. And again, she's a chonker, so here's the 2026 and here's our 2025. I guess before we do weigh her, I do want to say, like, I stumbled upon this kind of stationery hobby, and particularly with hobonichi as the vehicle for it last year, I guess more in like the end of 24. And I am so grateful I did. I remember making this video last year of like what I was gonna do, and I was so excited, and I was like, you know, like hobonichis aren't cheap. I really hope this doesn't become another hobby that I have this hyperfixation and then I spend all this money and then I end up like it just sits on a shelf and gathers dust. I'm really, really proud of myself that I really committed to this daily practice. And if it was not daily, it was most often, of like just documenting my life, of using this and knowing this is a safe place to process feelings and thoughts, and like just document my life in the most mundane days and the most exciting days. And now I have this physical documentation of like, I mean, yeah, I think I'm living a pretty fulfilling life based on the fullness of my hobonichi here. So I'm very proud of myself. And I'm really excited that I'm still so excited about this system. And I don't know, it was really bittersweet to kind of close her up. I wasn't planning to tie her off like this, but genuinely it won't stay shut if I don't tie it like this. You know, it is kind of symbolic in a way. Like, you know, we're just putting the bow on a great year. I don't know where I'm gonna stash her. I think I'm gonna have to make space on my bookshelf. Thankfully, this is like the first hobonichi I've ever completed, so it's not like I have like a pile of 6 of them or something that I have to figure out. So I'll probably just make some room on my bookshelf so I can, you know, access her if I want to like go back and walk memory lane. I definitely will have to pull this back out for the second half of the year because, again, I only had the first 6 months to put, you know, birthdays and things. So I will have to pull her back out to get the back half. I decided to leave the second half avec alone in its package because then it's like truly another unboxing when I get to June to set it up. Anything I can do to like get those dopamine hits, you guys. That's what I'm doing. So yeah, should we weigh her? Is that what we're doing now? Okay, let's do it. All right, if you have predictions for how heavy this sucker is, now's the time to put them in. All right, final weigh-in of the hobonichi from 2025 comes in at 2 pounds, 12 ounces, and a little bit of change. Oh, she's a baby. Wow. That's so funny to me that I've just been lugging around 2 pounds for like a hot minute now. Amazing. 2 pounds. That's the final weigh-in for this year. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I hope it, you know, maybe you picked up something that you're going to take into your own stationery practice. Maybe it was just an enjoyable little pit stop on the internet for you, but I really do appreciate it. I really love this hobby and I love the community around the hobby, and I just love like the flow of ideas, and you know, people are so creative. And so it's just fun to kind of be in this space and join this space and you know, hang out with you guys. So on that note, oh, okay. There was one other thing I wanted to add really quickly that are things that are not changing for my system this year. So of course I am keeping my hobonichi cousin as my like main journal of my system. It's for daily logging, it's for junk journaling, it's for sketching, it's for whatever. And it is like my main life log essentially. But I have a couple other journals in my system too. So one of those is my little traveler's journal or traveler's notebook. This is the passport size. And I have evolved this over last year because I think I picked this up maybe in like May or June of last year. So what I do with my traveler's journal is, or traveler's notebook, I keep calling it traveler's journal, it's traveler's notebook, is I have a brain dump here of like to-do lists, packing lists, generally like chores, like just anything top of mind that I need to do. I'll put them here. And I think the thing here is like, there's not really a deadline for these things. It's just stuff that comes to my brain and I don't want to forget to do them. The other thing, I added another notebook in here for shopping lists. So I've got a little grid paper notebook in here, and I've just got my little shopping lists here. So I'll take this to the grocery store, I'll take it running errands. And I do have a couple of the little like little folders in here. I originally put them in there to be like receipt holders or things. I don't really use it for that. Sometimes if I have my traveler's notebook with me, and I have like a receipt I want to use for my junk journaling later, or like just a random piece of paper, you know, whatever, like pieces of packaging, I'll throw them in here if it's convenient, but I haven't really found a good use for the folders except for just like breaking up the notebooks themselves. So that's my traveler's notebook. So she is really like a scratchpad, to-do list, shopping list. She's a list girly. So that's on my system. And the only other big thing with my system, and clearly you can tell that I've been using it lately because I just kind of haphazardly had this pen in there, is I have my brain outside of my skull. This is my genuine scratch pad. It is ugly. Everything in it is just like random things. It did kind of start as like a anything goes journal. I would used to keep my to-do list in here, but then I found that like it would be like a to-do list and then it would be 6 pages of just random thoughts or like planning a video or something, and then my to-do list would get lost. So that's why Miss Travelers entered the system. So now this really just is like if I have an idea for whatever I'm thinking of, I'll put it in here. If I hear a quote that I really like, I'll put it in here. I think I actually started to do some like video planning in here. Yeah, like I've got like a little bit of how I was gonna approach this video. Just whatever. Like it really just is whatever I need in the moment. So this is always with me. Usually I've got these two together in my little Sula pouch, which is my like on the go version, especially like for work and things, of my Sula bag, which if y'all are ever interested in a like what's in my bag with my Sula bag, it is my stationery hub on the go. I don't take it everywhere all the time because she is a hoss, but if you're ever interested in doing a little like walk through that, let me know. But that's it. That was the last thing that's really staying the same year to year is my system. I've got it down to 3 notebooks. That feels good to me. I'm not interested in adding any more right now. I've got like sketchbooks and other things, but like in my brain, that's not really part of my system personally. So yeah, that was all. I just wanted to add that at the end. So be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and Happy New Year. Bye guys.